sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.
Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive with us.
Yeah, great to be here.
Today we're going to be exploring this idea that feeling good, it's actually way more important than just like a fleeting thing, right? Like it's actually fundamental to living a more fulfilling life.
And there's more to it than most people realize.
Yeah, exactly. And the excerpt that we're going to be diving into today is called Feeling Good Matters. You are the happiness you desire. And I know that title might sound a little fluffy at first.
I can see that.
But stick with us because it actually goes pretty deep. It connects feeling good to things like our productivity, our relationships, how healthy we are, even how we impact the world around us.
Yeah, some big claims, right?
Yeah, pretty big claims. So we'll see if it lives up to the hype. But to start off, I was really struck by how the source dives right into the consequences of not feeling good. Like it's not just about, feeling a little bit down. It says there are actual costs to our well-being.
Right. And that's something most of us don't really think about too much.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about that. The source talks about chronic stress, and honestly, reading this part was a little bit of a wake-up call for me.
I think it's easy to overlook the impact of stress because it kind of builds up so gradually.
Mm-hmm.
You don't notice it at first.
That's true.
But, when we're constantly stressed, our bodies pump out cortisol, which is a hormone, and over time, that can really wreak havoc on our systems.
So like a slow burn.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like it can actually damage our blood vessels, which, can increase the risk of heart disease.
Yeah.
It weakens our immune system, so we're more likely to get sick.
So not only can it make us just feel mentally lousy, it can actually set us up for physical problems down the road.
That's right.
Wow. So that saying stress kills, I guess there's actually some truth to that.
Yeah, unfortunately there is. And, even beyond those physical effects, stress really messes with us mentally too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It can cloud our judgment, make it really hard to, think straight and make good decisions. And then we can get stuck in these negative thought patterns, which just makes the whole stress cycle even worse.
Oh, totally. It's like when you're in a bad mood and then everything seems to go wrong.
Right.
Which just makes you feel worse.
Right.
And it just spirals from there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just an individual thing either, right? That negativity can spread.
Yeah, that's so true.
A stressed out parent might snap at their kids more easily.
Uh-huh.
A frustrated boss can create this whole tense work environment.
Mm-hmm.
And, we pick up on the emotions of people around us. It affects us whether we want it to or not.
It's like, they say you can catch a cold going around.
Right.
But in this case, it's like a bad mood going around.
Yeah, exactly. It's contagious.
But okay, let's not dwell on the negative because the source also paints this really vivid picture of what it feels like to truly feel good.
Yeah.
And it's pretty inspiring.
It is. And it emphasizes that feeling good. It's not just like a surface level thing.
Yeah.
It's this deep inner sense of well-being that can affect, everything you do.
And I love how it talks about waking up feeling rested and energized, like approaching your day with optimism, a sense of purpose. It makes me wonder, how often do we actually let ourselves experience that?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
We get so caught up in the day-to-day.
Yeah, we do.
But the source suggests that, when we do cultivate that inner state of feeling good, it actually translates into positive actions.
Okay, so it's not just about, feeling happy for the sake of feeling happy. It actually impacts how we behave and how we interact with the world.
Exactly.
So I imagine happier people would be more likely to, make compassionate choices, be more patient with others, just generally contribute to a more positive atmosphere.
Right. It creates this ripple effect where kindness inspires more kindness. And that positive energy, it uplifts the people around us.
I love that image of a ripple effect of goodness. Like when you smile at someone and they smile back, and suddenly both of you are having a slightly better day, or when you stay calm in a really stressful situation and help someone else find their own sense of peace. It's we have this power to just shift the emotional atmosphere around us just by choosing to feel good.
And I think that's a power we often underestimate.
Yeah, I think so too.
But the source takes this idea even further.
Yeah.
It goes beyond, that traditional law of attraction concept.
Oh, you mean that idea that if you feel good, it'll attract good things into your life?
Yeah, exactly. But this goes deeper than that. It's about something called alignment.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What does alignment mean in this context?
So it's about aligning your inner state with the kind of world that you want to experience.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just about, manifesting material possessions or whatever. It's about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts and creates those things.
So if I'm understanding this right, it's saying that if we want to live in a kind and compassionate world, we need to cultivate those qualities within ourselves first.
Exactly.
Like our inner state becomes like a blueprint for the reality we create around us.
Right. It's like positivity breeds positivity.
Hmm.
When we feel good, we act in ways that generate more positivity.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, negativity, it breeds negativity.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like those self-fulfilling prophecies where it seems like everything is going wrong.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
But the point is, we have a choice.
And that brings up like a really crucial point that the source emphasizes, which is that feeling good, it's not just some random thing that happens to us. It's a choice we make. We're not just like passive recipients of good or bad feelings. We actually have agency in shaping our own emotional state.
And realizing that can be incredibly empowering.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it means you don't have to wait for things to get better. You can actively choose behaviors and practices that cultivate a sense of well-being.
So instead of thinking, I'll be happy when, it's about asking, what can I do today to feel good?
Exactly. And there's so many tools we can use, self-care, practicing gratitude, cultivating forgiveness, establishing healthy habits, setting boundaries. All of these choices contribute to our well-being.
Yeah, it reminds me of that saying, happiness is an inside job. Like, it's not about waiting for external circumstances to change. It's about taking ownership of our own inner state. And it makes me think, when was the last time you felt truly good? Like, what choices had led up to that moment? What were you doing? Who were you with?
Those are great questions to reflect on.
Yeah, and speaking of intention, the source also really highlights the importance of kindness as a key ingredient in this whole feeling good equation. And it's not just about being nice, it's about recognizing how profoundly kindness impacts both ourselves and others.
Yeah, and kindness is often seen as this passive trait. But in reality, it requires effort and a conscious choice. It's about actively choosing to treat others with compassion, patience, and respect, even when it's challenging.
And that's where it becomes a superpower, right? Because it takes strength and intention to choose kindness, especially when we're dealing with difficult people or situations. But the source argues that it's crucial for both our own personal well-being and for the well-being of those around us.
And there's a beautiful reciprocity to kindness.
Yeah.
It benefits the giver as much as the receiver.
That makes sense. Think about someone who consistently makes you feel better just by being around them. Like, chances are they possess qualities like kindness, warmth, and empathy. They just radiate positive energy, and it's contagious.
It is. And that's because they've cultivated that inner state of feeling good, and it naturally spills over into how they interact with others.
So it seems like kindness isn't just a feel-good gesture. It's like this powerful force that can transform our lives and the lives of those around us.
Absolutely. And it all starts with that choice. A choice to prioritize our well-being, cultivate positive emotions, and extend that kindness outwards.
And that brings us to the end of part 1 of our deep dives. We've explored the surprising costs of not feeling good, the transformative power of positive emotions, and the importance of aligning our inner state with the kind of world we want to create. But there's so much more to uncover.
Yeah, in part 2, we'll delve into some practical strategies for cultivating feeling good, exploring those daily choices we can make to create a more fulfilling and impactful life. So stay tuned for more insights and inspiration as we continue our deep dive into Feeling Good Matters. You are the happiness you desire.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Feeling Good Matters. So far we've uncovered some pretty profound ideas about how prioritizing our emotional well-being, it's not just like some fluffy self-help concept. It actually has like these ripple effects on our health, our relationships, even the world around us.
It really is fascinating stuff. And now we're going to get into the practical side of things because, feeling good might be a choice, but it's not always an easy one.
No, it's not. Life throws curveballs and, we get stressed. We fall into negative patterns. So how do we actually make that choice consistently? What tools can we use to cultivate feeling good, even when things are tough?
Well, the source emphasizes that, it's not about some grand sweeping overhaul of your whole life. It's about those small daily choices that over time create a shift in our well-being.
I like that. It feels a lot less overwhelming than thinking I need to completely transform myself overnight. So what are some of those everyday choices that the source highlights?
One that really stood out to me was self-care. And I'm not talking about bubble baths and face masks necessarily, although those can be nice too.
Yeah, self-care seems to have become a bit of a buzzword these days. So what does real meaningful self-care actually look like?
It's about being intentional about meeting our own needs. Recognizing that we can't pour from an empty cup. So it means making time for things that recharge us, whether that's spending time in nature, reading a good book, connecting with loved ones, or even just having some quiet time alone to, reflect and recharge.
And I imagine that self-care also includes taking care of our physical health, right? Like eating nourishing foods, getting enough sleep, moving our bodies in ways that feel good.
Absolutely. All of those things contribute to our overall sense of well-being. When we feel physically good, we're more likely to feel emotionally good as well. It's all interconnected.
Yeah, for sure. But self-care isn't always easy. It can feel selfish, especially if we're used to putting everyone else's needs before our own. The Source actually addresses this, right?
It does. It makes a really interesting point. It says that when we prioritize our own well-being, we're actually better equipped to show up for others.
Wait, explain that one, because it seems kind of counterintuitive at first.
Think about it. When we're feeling depleted and stressed and burnt out, how patient and understanding are we likely to be with others?
Yeah, probably not very.
Right. We're more likely to snap at our kids, get frustrated with colleagues. Just generally not be our best selves.
Yeah.
But when we take care of our own needs, when we fill our own cup, we have more energy and emotional capacity to give to others. We're more likely to be patient, compassionate, and supportive.
Okay, so self-care isn't selfish. It's actually a form of generosity.
Exactly. It allows us to be the best version of ourselves, which benefits everyone around us.
I like that. What other everyday choices does the Source highlight as being crucial for feeling good?
One that's particularly powerful is cultivating gratitude. And again, this isn't about some forced Pollyanna-ish positivity. It's about intentionally shifting our focus to the good things in our lives, no matter how small they may seem.
I've heard a lot about gratitude journals, where you write down a few things you're grateful for each day. Does the Source mention anything like that?
It does. And it suggests that even just taking a few moments each day to reflect on the things we're grateful for can have a really profound impact on our outlook. It helps us to appreciate what we have rather than dwelling on what we lack.
Yeah, it's like training our brains to focus on the positive, which can be a total game changer, especially when we're going through a tough time.
Right. And gratitude isn't just about, our own personal happiness. It also impacts our relationships. When we feel grateful for the people in our lives, we're more likely to treat them with kindness, appreciation, and love.
Oh, yeah. So it becomes this positive feedback loop.
Exactly.
We appreciate the good, we feel good, we do good.
Precisely. It's a virtuous cycle that benefits everyone involved.
Okay, so we've got self-care and gratitude. What other powerful practices does the Source recommend for cultivating feeling good?
One that often gets overlooked is forgiveness. And, I'm not talking about condoning hurtful actions or letting people off the hook.
Yeah.
It's about freeing ourselves from the burden of resentment and anger.
Because holding on to that anger and resentment, even if it's justified, ultimately it hurts us more than anyone else, right?
Right. It keeps us stuck in the past, poisoning our present moment with all those negative emotions.
So how does the Source suggest we actually go about practicing forgiveness?
It emphasizes that forgiveness is a process, not a one-time event.
Yeah.
So, it might involve acknowledging the hurt, allowing yourself to actually feel the anger and pain, and then consciously choosing to let go of those feelings.
It sounds like it takes a lot of courage and self-compassion to truly forgive.
It does. But the rewards are immense. When we release that grip of resentment, we free up so much emotional energy that we can then channel into, positive experiences.
And wouldn't that also improve our relationships as well?
Absolutely. When we're not carrying around all that baggage from past hurts, we're able to interact with others from a place of, greater understanding and compassion.
So forgiveness becomes this act of liberation, both for ourselves and for our relationships.
Exactly. It allows us to move forward with greater lightness and peace.
I love that. Okay, so far we've covered self-care, gratitude, and forgiveness. Are there any other key practices the Source recommends for cultivating feeling good?
One that's particularly relevant in today's fast-paced world is setting boundaries.
Oh, that's a good one. I think a lot of us struggle with boundaries, especially with, the constant demands of work and social media and just the general busyness of modern life.
It's easy to feel so overwhelmed and overcommitted, but the Source emphasizes that setting boundaries is an act of self-respect. It's about recognizing that our time and energy are precious resources that we need to protect.
So how do we actually go about setting those boundaries? Because it can feel really uncomfortable, especially if we're used to saying yes to everything.
It starts with becoming aware of our own needs and limits. What drains our energy, what activities bring us joy and fulfillment. Once we have a clear sense of what's important to us, we can start to set boundaries that protect those things.
And that might mean saying no to things that we don't have the time or energy for, even if it feels awkward or uncomfortable at first.
Exactly. It's about prioritizing our own well-being and recognizing that, we can't be everything to everyone.
And ultimately, when we set those boundaries, we're creating more space in our lives for the things that truly matter to us, the things that bring us joy and allow us to, feel good.
It's about creating a life that's in alignment with our values and priorities
Yeah.
rather than, being constantly pulled in a million different directions.
I love that. It's like taking back control of our time and energy and using it to create a life that feels good from the inside out. And speaking of creating, the source also mentions this interesting concept of like modeling the universe. What does that mean exactly?
It's about recognizing that we have this power to shape our reality, not just through our thoughts and intentions, but through our actions as well. So when we prioritize feeling good, when we make those daily choices to cultivate well-being, we're not just benefiting ourselves, we're actually becoming a living example of how life can be lived.
Oh, I love that. It's like we're these walking embodiments of possibilities showing others that it's possible to live a life filled with joy and purpose and connection.
Right, and that could be incredibly inspiring for other people. When they see us living in alignment with our values, prioritizing our well-being, extending kindness outwards, it gives them permission to do the same.
It's like that saying, be the change you wish to see in the world.
Exactly.
Except in this case, it's be the feeling good you wish to see in the world.
Right, and that brings us to a really crucial point. Feeling good isn't just about personal happiness. It's about creating a ripple effect that extends far beyond ourselves. When we make the choice to prioritize our well-being, we're actually contributing to a more positive and compassionate world.
So feeling good becomes this act of service, this way of, making the world a little bit brighter, a little bit kinder.
And I think that's what makes this whole deep dive so powerful. It's not just about self-improvement. It's about recognizing that our well-being is intertwined with the well-being of others. When we choose to feel good, we're choosing to make a positive impact on the world.
And that brings us to the end of part 2 of our deep dive. We've explored some of the practical strategies for cultivating feeling good, from self-care and gratitude to forgiveness and setting boundaries. But the journey's not over yet.
In part 3, we'll wrap things up by reflecting on what we've learned and exploring how we can apply these insights to our own lives starting today. So stay tuned for more inspiring conversation as we continue our deep dive into Feeling Good Matters. You are the happiness you desire.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into Feeling Good Matters. This exploration has really shifted my perspective on what it means to prioritize well-being, It's not just about those fleeting moments of happiness. It's about making choices that create a ripple effect of positivity, not just for ourselves, but for the world around us.
It really has been fascinating to unpack these ideas together.
Mm-hmm.
And as we wrap up, I'm curious to know what's been resonating most with you from our conversation so far.
Honestly, what's really sticking with me is how interconnected it all is. The source emphasizes that our well-being isn't some isolated thing. It's woven into the fabric of our relationships, our work, our communities, even our impact on the planet.
Yeah, that's such a key takeaway. It really challenges the idea that feeling good is selfish or indulgent. In reality, when we prioritize our well-being, we're actually better equipped to show up for others, to contribute to the world in meaningful ways, and to create a more positive and compassionate reality.
It's like that idea of modeling the universe that we talked about earlier. We're not just trying to manifest good things for ourselves. We're becoming living examples of how life can be lived, inspiring others to do the same.
And I think that's where the real power lies. It's not just about individual happiness. It's about collective transformation. When we choose to feel good, we're contributing to a ripple effect that can uplift and inspire those around us, creating a more joyful and harmonious world for everyone.
I love that image of a ripple effect. It makes me think about those moments when someone's simple act of kindness completely changes my day. Like when a stranger holds a door open for me or offers a genuine compliment. It might seem like a small thing, but it creates this little spark of joy that ripples outward.
Right, and imagine if we all made a conscious effort to create those sparks throughout our day. Think about the cumulative impact of all those small acts of kindness, those moments of genuine connection, those choices to radiate positivity rather than negativity.
It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it that way. It's we each have this superpower to just shift the emotional atmosphere, to make the world a little bit brighter, just by choosing to feel good and letting that ripple outward.
And I think that's a beautiful message to end on. Feeling good isn't just about, self-indulgence or seeking fleeting pleasure. It's about recognizing our interconnectedness and embracing the power we have to make a positive difference in the world.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a question to ponder. If feeling good is a superpower, how are you going to use it today? What small act of kindness, self-care, or gratitude can you practice to shift your energy and create those ripples of positivity?
Remember, it's not about grand gestures or overnight transformations. It's about those daily choices that over time add up to create a life filled with meaning, purpose, and joy.
And as we've discovered in this deep dive, feeling good matters. It matters for you, for me, and for the world around us. So go out there and spread that good energy. Make someone smile, take care of yourself, and never underestimate the power of choosing to feel good.
Sound the alarm. I'm coming up. We'll have a ball. I'm sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what